Breaking news today. Tens of thousands show support for Israel at a rally in Washington. There was a rally in Washington with tens of thousands of pro-Israel supporters. The House hurriedly called for a vote to prevent a shutdown of the federal government. Who exactly is to blame for global warming, anyway? Researchers used to be reticent, but now they're not. Hello. Hi, I'm Laura Davis. The Tuesday newscast is about to begin. First, though, how are the millennials doing? A recent study investigated millennials to see if they are less fortunate than their parents' generation, the baby boomers. This is what they discovered. The short list is USA Today's condensed news coverage. Here you can sign up for the newsletter. Tens of thousands of pro-Israel supporters demonstrated on the National Mall Tuesday, under tight security, to show their support for Israel's fight against Hamas and to chant, "Never again." As criticism has grown over Israel's offensive in Gaza, which was sparked by the bloody October 7 Hamas incursion, the March for Israel provided a resounding and bipartisan endorsement of one of America's closest allies. Thousands of protesters, many dressed in the blue and white of the Israeli flag and carrying signs expressing support for the country, descended upon the National Mall in Washington, D.C. on Sunday to call for the release of hostages and to denounce the rise in anti-Semitic incidents around the world. "It's a terrifying time, especially to be Jewish," said Golly Hampel, 18, who traveled to the rally from Houston and said she was in Israel on October 7. She spoke out to demand that more be done for the 240 hostages still being held in Gaza. Have interest rates finally stabilized? After spiking and leveling off in recent months, inflation resumed its downward trend in a resolute fashion in October. Although rent increases and a rebound in health insurance costs were partially offset by lower gasoline and used car prices, overall consumer price increases cooled more than expected. After a flurry of aggressive rate hikes, a measure of underlying price increases that the Federal Reserve pays more attention to remained elevated but also pulled back, providing support for the Fed to maintain status quo monetary policy. A statistical look. The annual increase in the Consumer Price Index reported by the Labor Department was 3.2% in October, down from September's 3.7% reading. Inflation was near a two-year low in June and July before a spike in gas prices reversed those gains. Tell me what this means for you. We dissect it and make sense of it. Averting a government shutdown? New House Speaker Mike Johnson passed his first major test when his plan to prevent a government shutdown was approved by a wide margin of votes. Johnson pushed a two-tiered, short-term measure to fund the government until deadlines in January and February. It's an unusual approach compared to previous bills, which extended all government functions until one deadline. Although some Republicans on the extreme right said they would vote against the resolution, the overwhelming support from Democrats ensured that it would be approved by the House. Just who is to blame for the planet's warming? As a result of climate change, every state is taking unprecedented measures to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions that are contributing to rising temperatures, but a new federal report released on Tuesday says even more drastic measures are required. And researchers are now speaking out freely.